Okay, so we're about to dive into a creature that just completely redefines our whole understanding of endurance, of freedom, and even what it means to have a home. We're talking about an animal that can fly for years without ever needing to land. Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine leaving the ground and not touching it again for years. A life of just constant motion, lived entirely between the waves and the clouds. I mean, it sounds like something out of science fiction, but this is very, very real. So, we start with this idea of a life without landing. It seems like a total paradox, right? An impossibility of biology. So, what kind of animal could possibly master this endless sky? Well, this is not a metaphor. We're talking about the albatross. You see, for this bird, land isn't really home. It's just a temporary stop. Its true territory is the huge, open ocean and the currents of air that flow right over it. And this is how it commands that territory. Some of these guys have a wingspan of over 3.5 meters. That's more than 11 feet, the largest of any living bird. But get this, these wings aren't for powerful flapping. They're long, they're narrow, they're rigid, perfectly engineered for one thing and one thing only, gliding. But, gliding alone isn't enough to stay in the air for years. How does it fly for so long without just getting exhausted? Well, the secret to its soaring is a technique so brilliant, it literally turns the ocean into an engine. It's called dynamic soaring. The albatross has basically mastered the physics of the wind. It takes advantage of the fact that the wind right above the waves is slower than the wind higher up. And that difference in speed, that's free energy, just sitting there, waiting to be harvested. And here's how that cycle works. The bird climbs into that fast wind high above the waves. Then it turns and glides downwind, picking up speed. Just above the water, it turns back into the slower wind and uses all that momentum to shoot right back up into the fast air, gaining height. It's this continuous, graceful figure-8 loop of energy creation. And the result is a flight that costs almost nothing. It is just effortless efficiency. By cooperating with the wind instead of fighting it, the albatross can travel thousands of kilometers with almost no effort. For this bird, flight isn't an action, it's just its state of being. So this ability to fly so effortlessly, it totally redefines its entire existence. Because, if you never have to land, how does that change the fundamental rules of life? It raises some pretty basic questions, doesn't it? How do you handle the absolute essentials of survival when the ground just isn't an option? Well, the solutions are just remarkable. To sleep, the albatross can shut down one half of its brain at a time to rest while the other half keeps it flying. It eats on the go, swooping down to grab squid and fish right from the ocean's surface. And it navigates this vast, featureless ocean using wind patterns, a super keen sense of smell, and even the Earth's magnetic field. And the scale of their journeys, it's just hard to even comprehend. We're talking over 120,000 kilometers in a single year. To put that in perspective, that's like circling the entire planet 3 times, every single year. And they keep up this lifestyle for decades. An albatross can live for over 60 years, a lifetime spent almost entirely in motion, just riding the winds of the southern oceans. So if life in the sky is so perfectly adapted, why ever come down? It turns out there's one reason and one reason only, powerful enough to bring these masters of the air back down to solid ground. And this creates a really fascinating contrast. In its element, the sky, the albatross is the picture of grace and power. But on land, its long wings and specialized feet make it clumsy and awkward. The ground is actually where it's weakest and most vulnerable. And they endure all that vulnerability for the single most important reason there is, the continuation of their species. Every clumsy step on land is for the next generation. It's a trade-off they just have to make. And their commitment is profound. After years at sea, they find their lifelong partner, they perform these intricate mating dances, and then they dedicate themselves to raising a single chick. This brief, grounded period is really the anchor point of their entire airborne existence. So, this incredible life strategy, it offers more than just a lesson in biology. The albatross becomes a symbol of freedom, and it teaches us about a completely different way of being. But this ancient mastery, which has been perfected over millions of years, is now colliding with a world that is changing faster than ever before. Yeah, their world is threatened by ours. long-line fishing boats, plastic in the oceans, which they mistake for food, and most fundamentally, climate change, which is altering the very wind patterns they depend on for survival. Their perfect system is facing an imperfect world. And yet, the lesson of the albatross is still so powerful. It never conquers the wind, it cooperates with it. It finds the path of least resistance and turns it into a source of infinite energy. It's really a masterclass in working with the forces of nature, not against them. And that really brings us to the heart of it. For us, the ground is our default state, right? The sky is a temporary place we visit. For the albatross, it's the exact opposite. To an albatross, the ground is optional, but the sky is essential. And maybe that's the ultimate takeaway. The albatross shows us that true freedom isn't just about the ability to move, but about designing a life where you never have to stop. A life built not on fighting limits, but on the profound understanding that some forces, well, they're meant to be ridden.